Welcome to my next Stranger Things Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you're not caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching Stranger Things, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, thus far I've watched every single episode of Stranger Things that's come out. Looking forward to the 5th and final season of Stranger Things, which I'm hearing is going to come out in November, although that has yet to be confirmed. And I'm guessing once it does finally come out that there will be a break in the middle of the action to extend into 2026. But Stranger Things is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's definitely top 20. It's probably closer to the top 10. I don't know quite yet where to put it, but after this rewatch of the 4 seasons, I'll have a better indication of where Stranger Things ranks on my favorite TV shows of all time. So join me on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comment section. And remember to come back to this channel for Stranger Things Season 5 reviews. Not sure exactly when they're going to come out or when I'm going to do them because they're going to be all released all at once. Well, most of them might be like a day after I watch an episode. So just keep that in mind. But with all that said, this will be Stranger Things Season 2, Episode 4. The title of this episode is called Will the Wise. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. So while the Shadow Monster's tendrils take root inside of Will, he is found motionless by Mike, Dustin, Max, and Lucas outside Hawkins Middle School while his mother tries to wake him up, only doing so when the monster finishes injecting its material into him. As Joyce leads him away, the boys observe that his episodes are getting more frequent and refuse to disclose their true nature to Max. At home, Will cannot remember what happened to him during the episode. When she shows him his picture of the Shadow Monster, he becomes tearful and describes it as more like a feeling and that he does not know what it wants. Joyce promises that she will protect Will from it. 11 returns to the cabin to find an enraged Hopper waiting out front. He lambasts her for being spotted and jeopardizing their safety. Hopper grounds her for a week and attempts to take the TV, but she holds it in place with her powers. So he ends up pulling the TV cables altogether. She angrily compares him to Brenner and locks herself in her room, tearing the cabin apart mentally while Hopper shouts at her to grow up. Jonathan returns home to find his mother and brother asleep in Will's bed. As he leaves them be, Will's eyelids flutter in his sleep. Nancy makes a bogus excuse to be unsupervised for the day and meets up with Jonathan. Joyce calls Hawkins police but cannot get in touch with Hopper. She takes Will's temperature and finds he is a few degrees under average. Dustin continues to shelter and feed a growing D'Artagnan, or Dart, as he goes to school, finding his friends still looking for the creature. Scott Clark, the teacher, teaches a lesson on all species' biological state of fear. Will becomes visibly nervous at the hot bath Joyce has drawn for him, and the skin on his back of his neck flares up while visions of the upside-down tunnels flash through his mind. When a perplexed Joyce insists that they need to raise his body temperature, Will states that he likes it cold. Hopper considers apologizes to 11, but instead orders her to clean up the cabin and leaves. Billy again taunts Steve Harrington while they square off in basketball, telling him his problem is that he is not planting his feet after knocking him down. In the showers, Billy and Tommy taunt him over Nancy skipping school with Jonathan the day before. While at the park and waiting to meet with Miss Holland, Nancy notices a man murmuring to himself. As they notice several more people watching them, they leave the park but are stopped at their car by a man telling them to come with him. Hopper arrives at the house to find it freezing and Will clad only in his briefs. Will confirms he he spoke of as the shadow monster and describes the visions he is having as distant memories that aren't his, dubbing them now memories. Will describes something in his now memories as growing and spreading, but is unable to say what it means. Joyce tells him to draw what he means instead, and he begins to draw dozens of thick blue lines shaded by a black background. Mike calls the Byers house, but gets no answer, and tells Lucas and Dustin about Will's episode on Halloween. They trade theories on what is happening with him and the shadow monster and agree to split up. Mike going to Will's house to check on him, and Lucas and Dustin continuing to look for Dart. As Eleven cleans up the cabin, she finds several boxes hidden underneath the floorboards and pulls out the ones labeled Hawking's Lab. At the lab itself, Sam Owens shows Nancy and Jonathan around, insisting those responsible for the lab's mistakes are indeed gone. He takes them to the basement and shows them that the gate being burned, explaining that they are unable to destroy it, but are able to stop it from spreading its tendrils. He affirms that no one else can know about it, as the gate could easily be used by enemies of the United States as a weapon. Will produces dozens of blue lines. Hopper and Joyce, initially thinking that they are meaningless, scribbles in Joyce until Joyce realizes two of the drawings connect. They begin mapping out the connecting drawings, taping them all over the walls and floor to form an interconnected series of blue lines. Hopper realizes he is drawing vines and leaves hurriedly. Annoyed that Mike clearly does not like her and the boys are keeping secrets from her, Max confronts Lucas about it and leaves in a huff. When he does not reveal any information, watching her talk to Lucas, Billy warns her not to hang out around that certain type of people. 11 sees an article about Terry Ives as well as a photograph of Ives and Brenner. 11 enters the void and finds Ives in her rocking chair, still catatonic, but now murmuring the same phrases repeatedly. She suddenly stops and identifies 11 as Jane, her daughter. And 11 recognizes her as her mother. And then Ives vanishes when she tries to touch her, leaving her in distraught. Nancy and Jonathan are let go, and she reveals in the car that she had recorded Owen's monologue. She affirms she still wants to destroy the lab when Jonathan asks her. And then we have Mike arriving at the Byers house and tells Joyce he knows about the shadow monster. Dustin returns home to find his mother looking for their cat. He finds the glass of Dart's tank shattered with what appears to be shed skin left inside. He follows a trail of blood to a bigger Dart feasting on his dead cat. It turns around and screeches at him, its head opening up like that of a Demogorgon. Hopper digs down in a infested pumpkin patch until he hits gray organic matter. He chips at it until it retracts and reveals a hole. When he drops down into it, he finds himself in a long, dark tunnel. And that's what ends this episode of Stranger Things. So pretty good episode. I'm going to score this one an 8.5 out of 10. And then my standout characters of the episode, which you could have completely different opinions. It's subjective. I'm going to go with Hopper, 11, and Joyce. Those were the three characters that I thought did the most. Although you've got Nancy and Jonathan and recording what Sam Owens says. So who knows? But those are who I picked. I don't want to pick too many. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Stranger Things and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Stranger Things. What would you rate it, and who would you choose as your character of the episode? Let me know everything that you have to say about the episode in the comment section, and remember to come back to this channel for Season 5 episode reviews once Season 5 finally comes out. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDevTV.